All right, Jimmy here from NBA Australia. The All-Star weekend is done. It's the All-Star break. So why not do some post-All-Star power rankings before we get back to the grind of the NBA season? Hey, these teams are still utter butt. It's the Pelicans. They stink. No one's healthy. They're just bad. But Zion's playing and they're still bad. Just trade him. What are you doing? The Yaz, it's a soft J. They're just every so often they'll do something like they did just before the All-Star break and beat the Lakers, and you're like, ha, 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 that was funny. Why? What are you doing? Don't do that. You're still out of butt. The Nets, surprisingly like competent at times because they've got a good coach and they've got dudes who don't want to tank yet, but just try to sit through one of their games. They are utter butt. Same goes for the Wizards. They've got like veterans on that team now. They've traded Kyle Kuzma, but they're still utter butt. Just play the kids. You'll be fine. And the Hornets. This is just gouge your eyes out bad. I had such high hopes for this Hornets team at the start of the season. They've been unhealthy all year. LaMelo's coming back. Why? I don't know. He's just going to do his ankle again, isn't he? The cooked tier. This is a new tier. They're just cooked. This is also like a bit of a mix of like, they're bad, but they're fun. Portland. They're bad, but they're fun, but they're also cooked. You know what I'm saying? Like Scoot's rad. They've got Time Lord back. But what are you doing? Like, I understand that you're trying to get games under the belt, but geez, you're cooked. Just settle down, Portland. Phoenix. They don't think they're cooked, but they're cooked. Like, you got Devin Booker, you got KD, but you're still cooked. Oh, but I've got Nick Richards. Still cooked, mate. You're more cooked than one of my old man Snags. Simple as that. They're gross. And so are the Sixers. They're just, we've got Paul George, Joel Embiid. Yeah, Joel Embiid doesn't play. What is he doing? He's like, I'm going to sit out this tough game, but here I'm going to play against Charlotte. You're like, what are you doing, Joel? Just sit out the rest of the season. I've got to get more knee surgery. Then just do it now, you idiot. Start the rehab process now. You're not winning the title. Pour one out for the Sixers fans. They just won a Super Bowl. Who cares? The Raptors, this team is a mess. They're like, hey, we'll give Brandon Ingram $40 million a year. It's like, why? No one wants to do that. Literally, the rest of the league didn't want to do that. Masai, he's like tapping his brain going, Galaxy brain, we're unstoppable. It's like, no, you're the Raptors. You stink. He might still make the playoffs, though. Like, it'll be the funniest thing in the world because the Chicago Bulls, the next team, they're cooked. They are so bad. Like, and it hurts my brain. I'm like, you look at them go, you should be better than you are. And they're like, nah, man. Nah, we're still very bad. Don't worry about that, Jim. I'm like, come on, you've got giddy up. Let's do it. And he's like, I'm okay. The rest of that team is horrible, though. The do something tier. This is me poking him with a stick on. Do something. Do something. The Hawks. They traded a bunch of their dudes and they got better. I don't know. Just let Dyson cook. That's all I want. But just do something, Hawks. Like either tank or like, I don't know, just win more games and don't be as bad as you are. I don't know. It's bizarre. The Kings, same sort of thing. They got Doug Christie as their coach. They went on this win streak and then they went bad again. And you're like, that's bad. Do something, Kings. They're like, I don't know, maybe Zach LaVine. And you're like, it's the wrong sort of do something, I think. They're like, how can we replicate the horrible Bulls teams of the last few years with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine? How about we get Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan? You idiots. The Spurs. But Jim, they've got Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, but do something. They're kind of just not that good. It's weird. The Wolves are a very do something team as well. They'll have like these games where they look like the best team in the West, and then they look like they just get steamrolled by absolutely everybody else. Because, like, seriously, you look at this tier and like the do something tier. The Wolves could very easily lose to every team below them and beat every team above them. And you're like, just do something consistently, damn it. And the Heat, they traded Jimmy Butler. You've gotten into the Andrew Wiggins business. Good on you, Miami. That's going to be awesome. The kind of rad tier. This is one of my favorites, the Warriors. But Jim, you wrote them off. Yes. And now they've got Jimmy Butler. He's also, I reckon, a bit cooked. But those 2 games we saw him in, you know what he did? He got to the free throw line. Draymond Green's like, wait, you can get free throws that aren't for the other team because I've tried to choke out an Eastern European? I don't know. Maybe I'll just yell loudly about the All-Star game. Good job, Draymond, idiot. Anyway, Warriors are suddenly very interesting because Jimmy Butler gives them an aspect they've not had since KD left. Sure. The Detroit Basketball Pistons, I love them. You know that. I think they're kind of rad. I really wish they'd gotten Spindles Ingram instead of bloody Toronto, which is just a waste. Like, they've got Tobias Harris, aka the most useless waste of money in the NBA. But somehow Cade Cunningham is that good that they're still kind of rad. And the Pacers, they've finally figured it out. They're kind of rad again. So as long as they stay healthy, they're kind of rad. My favorite tier of all this, though, this is the had Luka Doncic tier. That is that is the Dallas Mavericks. They had Luka Doncic. Now, the other tier above them is have Luka Doncic. That's the team that actually has Luka Doncic. Now, that's the Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles, California, where there are very few lakes. What are you doing, Dallas? They're like, hey, we'll trade Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis, who's never getting hurt ever again. One game later, it's a SpongeBob moment. One moment later, Anthony Davis is like, oh, I think I need surgery on everything in my body. And you're like, who could have seen that coming? Except for everybody. Nico Harrison. I'm smarter than everybody. I knew Kobe. It's like, yeah, but you're still a moron. And meanwhile, the Lakers are like, how did we just get Luka for nothing? This is awesome. Let's go win LeBron one more title. The playoff locks, I still love the Rockets. They're looking less lockier than they were, but that's because they didn't have Fred VanVleet in the last little run. I still think they're a playoff lock just because their defense can crank up. The Clippers are a playoff lock, and Ben Simmons looks awesome. What is going on? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. But they are definitely a playoff lock if you ask me. And the Bucks, Kuzma's fine. He's actually kind of healthy as opposed to Middleton. He can move laterally. So I think they're a playoff lock, right? I think they're probably a top 5 seed in the East. The smashing tin, stack and wins tier. The Denver Nuggets, they have been smashing tins and stacking wins just before that All-Star break. They are absolutely cruising. I think it just might be health. Jamal Murray's like, I've played my way back in. He's gone the full Shaq. I got hurt on company time. I'm getting fit on company time. And if you've seen his misses, you do the exact same thing. Just saying. The Knicks, they're smashing tin, stacking wins unless they play Boston, who they just got steamrolled by. And the Grizzlies, they have these games like, do we have Ja Morant today? And they're like, nah. It's like, we'll win anyway. It's awesome. But Triple J is unreal. They still have these weird glitches in the Matrix where they just like have these horrible games out of nowhere. But then the rest of the time, they're the most under-the-radar team in the NBA right now, the Memphis Grizzlies. And they're the 2 seed in the West. What are we doing? They're awesome. They've won 7 of the last 10 because they lost the last game before the All-Star break. It was, I don't think they're very good. And then the title runs through them. It's Boston. They're back in the top tier. This used to be the elite tier. Now the title goes through them. It's like a river runs through it. Ever seen that horrible movie? Don't bother. Boston. The title still goes through them. They match up so well against everybody else that it's ridiculous, right? And going in from this All-Star break, you're like, yeah, you still have to beat Boston if you want to win the title. And Cleveland, they go get DeAndre Hunter. Love it. Thing is, can they stay healthy enough? How do they match up against Boston in the playoffs? I can't wait to find out. The title goes through those 2 teams in the East. And in the West, it's the Thunders. I love the Thunders. When I don't hate them for being my beloved Seattle Supersonics, who got stolen horrifically away from Seattle and moved to OKC, the 46th biggest media market in the USA, you idiots. But still, the Thunder, they get Chet Holmgren back. They get Isaiah Hartenstein, hello, back. They get J-Dub. They get SGA. SGA is probably going to win the MVP. But do they have anyone on that bench they can actually rely on when it gets to like nut crunch time? We're going to find out. The title goes through those 3 teams. That's some NBA Australia pre-playoff, post-All-Star power rankings for you. Get around the show or I'll fight ya.